The 2000s saw the merger of vintage fashions, global and ethnic clothing such as boho, and the fashions of several music-based subcultures, which is why the decade is commonly referred to as global mashup. The retro-inspired indie look later in the decade was the most popular among young people of all sexes, followed by hip-hop fashion. Globalization also has had an impact on the decade's fashion trends. The integration of Middle Eastern and Asian attire into mainstream European, American, and Australian fashion. The decade also saw the rise in eco-friendly and ethical clothes, such as recycled garments and faux fur. Many styles from the middle and end of the 1990s were still in style in the early 2000s, while also giving way to fresher trends. Clothing styles, particularly from the 1960s, 1970s, and 1980s, experienced a widespread revival in the decade's later years. Hello and welcome to your favorite fashion channel, the Black Belt Fashion. In today's video, we will go back in time and talk about fashion in the 2000s. What are some of the fashion trends you recall from that decade? And what fashion trends now are inspired by that decade? Stay tuned as we go back in time and look for all the outfits that left a mark in the last 2 decades. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on the post notification bell if you already haven't done so. With that, let us dive into it. For high fashion in the 2000s, the late Alexander McQueen, Vera Wang, Christian Louboutin, Jean-Paul Gaultier, Vivienne Westwood, and Karl Lagerfeld were among the top-known designers. They have continued to dominate in the industry until now. In this same decade, there was also the rise of fast fashion. Fast fashion, which is off-the-rack, high-street apparel priced reasonably and based on the newest high fashion styles, became more popular in the early to mid-2000s. Fast fashion had a big role in the expansion of the fashion industry thanks to its cheap cost appeal and runway-inspired styles. Brands had to figure out a way to stay up with their customers' new buying habits as inexpensive apparel became even more crucial to the dawn of the new era. After the 20th century, in 1999, the fashion industry saw sales of $230 billion at department stores like Macy's, JCPenney, Kohl's, and others. The following years saw a decline in that number, resulting in merchants releasing new styles more quickly than ever due to the growth of online retail and in-store fast fashion. H&M, Forever 21, and Zara are examples of new millennium retail behemoths that rose during this period. Notably, the retailer Target had great success working with different fashion designers to provide designer clothing that was cheap for the typical consumer. The acceptance and creation of knockoff styles were also made possible by this rapid fashion movement, which allowed customers to purchase designer goods at lower costs. The designers decided to take action after noticing their creations were being imitated. As a master of introducing fast fashion, the retail behemoth H&M teamed up with fashion designer Karl Lagerfeld in 2004 to launch a limited edition collection. The collection was a huge success, with women lining up outside the stores to purchase the 30 pieces the designer had chosen for the collection. During this period, fashion was greatly influenced by many factors, one of the most notable ones being music. Let's look at one of the most iconic and influential ones, hip-hop, under Types of the 2000s Looks. By the decade's end, American hip-hop fans' fashion had evolved from the sagging, baggy gangster jeans of the 1990s to a more retro look. Wide-leg jeans, baseball jackets, Nike Air Jordan sneakers, tracksuits, sweatpants, bucket hats, stunner sunglasses, fur-lined puffer coats, and flat-brimmed trucker hats or baseball caps were popular clothing items. Many well-off white jocks and preppies adopted the gangster look in the early 2000s, abandoning the conservative, semi-formal appearance of the 1980s and 1990s in favor of gold bling, expensive designer clothing, sneakers, dark denim, and sweatpants. Girls, too, were not left behind by the trend, and those who dressed this way were referred to as queen bees, plastics, or airheads, and thought that being popular depended on wearing luxury. The Cholos and Chicanos, who dressed like Mexican prison gangs by donning baggy khaki pants, gold chains, white t-shirts, and styled back hair, or shaving their head, were another prevalent American subculture. Next, look at the nu metal, rave, and goth trends during this period. American goths and nu metal enthusiasts who favored trip pants and black leather duster coats, were prominent subcultures in the early 2000s. In the 1990s, emerging fashion styles survived in the rave scene. The cybergoth and rivethead subcultures preferred shaved heads, synthetic neon dreadlocks, camouflage, tight leather pants, chains, platform boots, stretched body piercings, goggles, corsets or leather skirts, and black trench coats embellished with metal studs, while some preferred spiky hair and fat pants. Up next, the period saw the psychobilly and rockabilly trend. Black leather jackets, cowboy boots, and Levi jeans were among the hot rod, psychobilly, and rockabilly subcultures in Scandinavia, Russia, and Germany during the early to mid-2000s. The coif, the pompadour, and the psychobilly Mohican were popular hairdos. Later in the decade, it became fashionable for women to dress like 1950s pinup girls, complete with polka dot dresses, pencil skirts, sheath dresses, capri pants, platform heels, 1940s-inspired sandals, retro lingerie like garter belts, stockings, baby dolls, dresses, slips, and corsets, as well as vintage tattoos. This trend, made famous by celebrities like Dita Von Teese, led to the appeal of Ed Hardy apparel among all sexes from 2007 to 2012. In 2005, indie pop trends became widely accepted in Europe and North America, sparking a resurgence of the mod and British invasion styles from the 1960s, as well as the adoption of activist attire like the keffiyeh and vintage or thrift store apparel. Other subcultures, such as American preppies and rappers like Kanye West, imitated indie fashions or mixed them with elements of Japanese street style, such as the Harajuku and Lolita fashions made famous by Gwen Stefani. The emo kids, who were recognized by their black or purple hoodies and t-shirts bearing the image of rock bands like Fall Out Boy, My Chemical Romance, or Taking Back Sunday, were another famous subculture of the mid to late 2000s. Low-rise skinny jeans, snakebite jewelry, silver accessories, and Vans with a checkerboard design. Hair with thin, straight, and matte with long bangs or fringe, often black in color. Technology had a significant impact on fashion at the beginning of the 2000s. Around 2000, there was a monochromatic futuristic trend in clothing with metallic, slickbacks, a lot of gray, straps, and buckles becoming standard. This was referred to as Y2K style. The clothing was black, reflective, futuristic, and seductive. When the first iPod was released in 2001, the white earbuds and the device became popular accessories among early adopters. Mesh top, wraparound sunglasses, wireframe rectangle glasses, box-pleated skirts, handkerchief tops, concert t-shirts with rhinestones, sparkling shoes, halter tops, sequined pants, popularized by Peter Morrissey, and embroidered and sequined tops, inspired by Easton Pearson, were specific items of the Y2K clothing. In the year 2000, some of the popular casual women's and girls' fashion trends included oversized sunglasses, mini shoulder handbags or purses, aviator sunglasses, oversized hoop earrings, mid-rise, boot cut, fabric accents sewn into the flares, lace-up sides and tie-dye jeans, wedge flip-flops, hot pants, denim jackets, chunky sweaters, pashmina scarves, Skechers, belly shirts, and tube tops. Following 9/11, fashion shifted from its futuristic trends and became more conservative. Sandblasted highlights, frosted jeans, ripped jeans, and whiskering became popular in the return of distressed denim. During this period of the decade, lower-rise jeans had developed, effectively eradicating the high-waisted styles of the 1990s. In general, the decade's early years saw the continuation of numerous fashion trends from 1995 onward. In the early years of the decade, newer fashion trends included sporting military gear and sportswear as daily attire. This included tracksuits, light-colored polo shirts, sometimes stripped and popped collars, cargo pants, khaki chinos, boot-cut jeans, corduroy pants, and rugby shirts. Winter wear included padded tartan lumberjack-style shirts, fleeces, puffer jackets, and practical hiking jackets of the Berghaus variety, as well as turtleneck sweaters in brown, gray, burgundy, rust, maroon, or forest green, and unusual sport coats in navy blue, stone gray, beige, or natural linen that fastened with 3 buttons. These trends persisted into the middle and end of the 2000s. white belts, trucker hats, flip-flops, Oxford shoes, Argyle socks, typically worn over tracksuit bottoms, Rockport boots, sneakers from companies like Nike, Adidas, and Puma, baseball caps, sporting the logos of football, basketball, and baseball teams, and jelly bracelets were among the men's accessories popular in the early 2000s. Well, there you have the fashion history of the 2000s, marking the end of what we have for you. What fashion trend did you find the most interesting? What do you think about the ethics of the fast fashion era? Who among the decade's top designers is your favorite? And what trend did you rock in these we have talked about or would like to recreate? Comment below and let us engage. Please leave a like, subscribe, and do not forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell for more amazing videos. Until the next one, peace out.